Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Thank you for joining us again tonight. Tonight we're joined by a very talented singer. She was featured on season 16 of NBC's The Voice, but she has a new project coming out this year. She's here to tell us all about it. Her name is Beth. You want to definitely stick around to hear what she's talking about. And then Hot Topics breaking down everything everyone's talking about. But I want to remind you, we're all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our official website, thestephenknightshow.com. You can also purchase your merch. You can find out more about us. You can also watch us if you prefer to on our YouTube channel, The Stephen Knight Show. Please comment and subscribe. All right, well, we're continuing our season 12. Last week, Lynia was not here, dealing with some family things, but Lynia, she's back. How you feeling?
Monday, y'all know what it is.
It's Monday, right? Exactly. What can I tell you? It's January 31st, and have you heard of Dry January?
Yeah.
Dry January. I've read your post on Instagram. They cracked me up about stop drinking on February 29th, 30th, 31st.
Yep.
Well, Dry January is when you don't drink for the month of January, and today's the last day, and I successfully did it. So, you know.
Oh, you said for the month of January.
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm coming at the end of February.
I know what you're talking about. Yours, yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming to Atlanta at the end of February.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well,
so I just want to make sure that doesn't include you trying to not drink while I'm there.
Oh no, we're good then. We're good.
You have to link up with me while I'm there real quick.
Right. What's going on with you, Chike? How you feeling?
I'm okay. I'm blessed by the best, man. I cannot complain.
That's what's up. Well, listen, our question of the day is, would you consider your parents strict when you were growing up, Lynia?
I don't know if I would say strict, but no. Because I can't. I don't think so. Like, I wasn't like, I don't know. Damn, that's a good question. I've seen strict parents, like, so not that they were strict, but I knew if I had no business doing something, somebody was gonna lay hands on me.
Right, exactly.
So, and no, I wasn't abused. I wasn't traumatizing child.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I mean, so I'm gonna say no.
Yeah. I got this question after watching the Janet Jackson documentary we'll talk about a little bit. And so, you know, they said that Joe Jackson's very strict. Chike, were your parents strict on you?
Well, that's relative, I think. It depends.
Yeah.
So I know some families that reared their children very strict. So I'm going to say no. I pretty much had reign to do pretty much what I wanted to do within reason.
Yeah. I think my parents were strict, but it wasn't like, yes, Joe Sargent kind of strict. You know what I mean? Like, I think like my friends, like I grew up in a neighborhood and it was like 5 of us to hang out. And I was the oldest in that group, but we were like all in the same grade, or I was a year above them, like a grade above them, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I was always the first one had to be home. They'd be out all night. My mom would say, if I know you're at home, I know where you are. I know you're safe.
Yeah.
And, but I could go places, but when I was younger, I didn't spend the night a lot at other people's houses. There were certain friends, certain cousins I could, but so I feel like they were strict, but I actually appreciate it. It wasn't like to the point where once I went to college, I broke loose. You know what I mean? Right, exactly.
So I used to live around the corner from Aretha and them, and Aretha and them, their parents were so strict. They were like deacon and deaconess in the church. Aretha and them had to be in church every day in the evening at 7. They had to be in the house at a certain time. The girls had to wear skirts at all times. The guys wore ties. Like their parents didn't play. They couldn't even play with the rest of the kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But see, those be the ones. They get a taste of that life. Next thing you know, they off the chart and off the hook and all kinds of wide open.
And Aretha did get pregnant at an early age.
At 13, yeah.
And sometimes you just don't. Sometimes there is a thing of smothering or being overly
Overbearing.
protective of your children. Because if you don't have and being a mother of a young man, well, my son is 29 now, but are you having conversations, or you think that you holding on to them like that is going to just completely like hide them from what the hell is to come? And my son would hate the conversations that I would be honest to have with him because he didn't want to hear it.
Right.
But I at least have to know I told you, because it's too much stuff going. I had my son at 14, not
Right.
on purpose. I wasn't trying to be fast. I didn't know. My mom didn't talk to me about that nookie.
Yeah.
No. So, you know, them church ones though.
It's true, them PKs, but when I went to school, I remember my freshman year, my mother told me this first semester, she said, a lot of people you meet this first semester won't be back second semester. That's because they got loose and went wild. You know what I mean? So, but tweet us at home and let us know, were your parents strict with you growing up? All right, so hot topics. You know, it's very sad news broke over the weekend that Cheslie Kryst, who won Miss USA in 2019, she passed away, apparent suicide. Now, according to TMZ, police responded to an emergency call at 7:13 a.m. Sunday to Cheslie's Midtown apartment building on 42nd Street. She was pronounced deceased when authorities arrived at the scene. Police are investigating the incident and reportedly believe that she may have jumped from the building. She was reportedly last seen on the 29th floor of Terrace. According to the New York Post, police reportedly said that Cheslie left behind a note where she left everything to her mother. However, there was no explanation for her passing. Early Sunday, she made her final Instagram post. She shared a photo of herself and said in her caption, "May this day bring you rest and peace." Outside of her pageant title and being a lawyer, viewers were able to see her on TV daily as a correspondent on Extra. Extra spoke out about Cheslie's passing and said, "Our hearts are broken. Cheslie was not only a vital part of the show, she was a beloved part of our Extra family and touched the entire staff. Our deepest condolences to her family and friends." They also shared an official statement from Cheslie's family who said her great light was one that inspired others around the world with her beauty and strength. She cared, she loved, she laughed, and she shined. Cheslie embodied love and served others, whether through her work as an attorney fighting for social justice, as Miss USA, as the host of Extra, but most importantly, as a daughter, sister, friend, mentor, and colleague. We know her impact will live on. And she was also a strong advocate for mental health. She would talk about her mental health and everything. And she was only 30 years old. Prior to turning 30, she made a post saying that as she approaches 30, she realizes that her importance in society would kind of be played down because of society standards, which is so young. Chike, what are your thoughts on this? Because they're saying now what we've been talking about for a while now, check on your strong friends. And she's like someone who had it all together. And apparently her schedule was booked in terms of what she had going on moving forward in her career, like in recent times. What are your thoughts on all this?
It's funny that it's not funny, but what a coincidence, because I'm going to be on a panel next month talking about this very issue, mental health, mental wellness. You just never know what people are going through. You just never know where people are in life. You don't know what traumas they incurred through their life, what things trigger them. And some people are living just to get by.
Yeah.
In the sense of not financially, but just to get by mentally. They're going through their days kind of in a fog. So you just never know. We have to be kinder to each other. That's one. We have to be kinder to each other. And especially if you know someone and they seem a little off, like you said, check on them. Someone's too quiet too long, check on them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's sad, and we may never know. And the same for Regina King's son. We may never know, but God bless them.
And there was that other actor. He lost his son to apparent suicide at 26 recently. They're so young. Lynia, what are your thoughts on this?
Without going too deep, I get it. The past couple months has been rough for me. Some things, you know, I share, some things I don't share. And I know that I'm going through it. So, you know, it's hard when, you know, you try to keep it together. It's hard when you don't want to tell people what's going on. But you got to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So just for me, you know, just trying to find my way back because it's been a rough couple months. So I say this to say that, you know, anybody who feels like, you know, they're like at their wit's end. I ain't saying I want to off myself, but I know that it's been hard and I've been feeling like I've been wanting to break down. So reach out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, check on your strong friends.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that do for everybody else, but you know that they don't do for themselves because they're taking care of everybody else.
Yeah.
Because it's rough out here in these streets.
Most definitely. And if anyone watching or you know someone that is struggling for mental health, please call the mental health hotline at 1-800-950-6264. All right, so let's switch gears to the Janet Jackson documentary. Chike, I know you're going to do a review on this later on, but we have to talk about it. Everyone's talking about this documentary. It was a 4-hour special that premiered over Friday and Saturday this past weekend. And she admitted in there that she was secretly married twice, to James DeBarge for 6 months. It was annulled. And then to Renee for 9 years. And it was interesting because Rebe, you know, she got married to James and she said that she didn't know she was married. And then when it came to Renee, she was like, and there he was, married again. They were like, they said she's the epitome of mind my own business. Because she acted like it was just like, oh, it happened again. But anyway, so she was married twice. And then, of course, you know, she dated Jermaine Dupri for a long time. And it was revealed the reason they broke up because he was cheating on her. And then she got married again to her son's father, who she really didn't speak about that marriage. I had my reasons why. But she didn't speak about that marriage. She did talk about her son, though, and the blessing that he has. She had him at 50. She also revealed that growing up, she was very close to Michael and Marlon, like I said, growing up. But her relationship with Michael started shifting around the Thriller album because people around him and how big he was getting. She did deny having the secret child everyone thought she had with James DeBarge. She said that she would never have kept the child from him, and that was not true. And then when it came to her father, she admitted that he was very strict growing up, and it was difficult for her at times, but she did credit him for the family's success. Randy, he was featured a lot throughout the documentary, and he said a lot of people that he grew up with in Gary, Indiana, they were either dead or in jail. And their dad did not want that for them, and he was very strict on them, and he knew that they had the talent to get them out of that environment. Chike, I know you watched this. What were your thoughts on anything surprised you? And what were your thoughts on the documentary?
Nothing really surprised me. I've been a Janet Jackson fan since I don't know when, like before Good Times. I guess I used to watch the variety show. So, I mean, I was a fan from way back when. Nothing surprised me. I'm like you know, there's reasons why she didn't mention the latest husband and you didn't see the kid.
No. Nope.
So, yeah.
And she showed pictures of her kid before. That was interesting.
Yeah, and it was a halt put to that. Yeah. But I thought it was good. I'll expound more in movie reviews, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
You know, it was interesting, Lynia, talking about a relationship with Michael. We all knew that, you know, towards the end, or even, you know, the 2000s on that their relationship seemed a little because everything was going on in the media, although they did always come to his court cases and things like that. But she said that it was early on when they started kind of drifting. And then even when they would go visit him during the trial, sometimes they couldn't even see him. And the reporter, the interviewer asked her, it seemed like you all had so much fun shooting the Scream video. And she said it was very hard working on that. She said a lot of times there was walls built so she couldn't see what he was doing. And sometimes she wasn't even on set when he was on set. And they showed a clip when they were in the studio recording it, and he was criticizing, with her vocal, not she would sound bad, but at certain notes, he was, very critical of it. What were your thoughts about this documentary and her opening up about those relationships?
So I didn't get it. Well, I didn't watch it on purpose. I have a thing with watching certain things. I'm going to watch it, at a later date, but I got bits and pieces of it. Michael was always in a zone when he was in the studio. Always. And he was a perfectionist when it came to being in the studio.
Yeah.
I know that there was mention that, he had called her names and stuff like that. I know a lot of brothers and sisters who call each other names.
Yeah.
So we not gonna start that and make like this big deal.
But she said that. I think she said that.
Yeah, she said it was just a kid.
But you know how the internet is. That's how they tried.
Those were the lines. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, oh, Michael was ... Jan, and he was, talking bad and calling her name. Like that was like, I saw a couple headlines.
Those were the headlines. Yeah.
Trying to start that surge, and I think that for her to come out now, it seems like she's like technically somewhat at a free space in her life outside of, her baby and that whole situation. She's at a free space in her life, because any other time you wouldn't know nothing about Janie. No. Not nothing. Not absolutely nothing. Nope. But you wouldn't know too much about any of them.
Right.
That's really how they were trying to keep it. So, I mean, sometimes, relationships tend to, go through their ebbs and flows, and, it was just happening to them. And, Michael was going through a lot. And on top of whatever he was going through internally, you know what I mean? Then he's battling, you know what I mean, the outside forces. So you can't expect for somebody unfortunately, sometimes people take stuff out on you. And, I just don't, I didn't see it that way. But I definitely, the pieces that I got, I definitely know that it was a good 4-hour documentary, and it gave people a chance to really tap into Janet.
Yeah, someone said on Twitter that it humanized the Jackson family watching a documentary. The one thing they had, because they obviously addressed the Super Bowl situation with Justin Timberlake, and rumor was that he was part of he was going to be on the documentary. It was supposed to be a secret that, but that leaked out. And part 2, that's when they addressed it. The only thing that they showed that was really new was a video from this year where Janet said that people are looking for someone to blame for that. They need to let it go. It was a mistake that happened, that her and Justin are really good friends, and they've moved on from it, and people need to do the same. But I was reading on Twitter. I go on Twitter the next day, each day. They said, "Sorry, legend, we have to ignore you on this one, sis." But and also in the documentary, they and I think it was 2018, Justin's camp had reached out to her to be on the Super Bowl, and they declined it. But I could see why I was asking the question with some friends I was watching with, and they said she would have to talk about it all over again. And I can understand them have to address that. But the good news is that her a lot of her albums have gone to the top 10 on iTunes as a result of this documentary.
But see, the thing about it, what everybody doesn't really absorb totally, I don't think, that Janet was blackballed. for years. Like ever since that happened, you haven't seen the Janet Jackson video. You haven't seen her. You haven't seen her promote anything. And she's even had an album out since then. Two, actually.
Several,
and you haven't heard anything from her. And I do think that this was very smart of her. I'm gonna talk about this here, not in movie reviews. I think this was very smart of her to do this. First of all, in the style in which she did it, because it's kind of like a documentary / reality show / expose / biography.
On her terms.
On her terms. Say, Lynia? On her terms. On her terms, but she shut down network TV for 4 hours. Prime time.
Because everyone was talking about this.
And she's showing you I'm still bankable.
Yeah.
Whether you blow me or not, I'm bankable.
And the crazy
I don't think that she'll be blackballed after this.
And the crazy thing was, after the Super Bowl situation, she was disinvited from the Grammys, but they invited Justin Timberlake. But shout out to Tyler Perry. You know, Tyler Perry doesn't always get the credit I think he deserves it, and when it comes to supporting our people. And he was the only one that would put her in a movie or put her on stage, put her on the screen. And he put her in 3 movies. You know, think about it, 3 movies right after that. So he said at the end of the day, it was an effing nipple. Let it go. Let it go.
You see way worse than
Right.
And well, like she said in the documentary, guilty by association.
Yeah. All right. Well, this story really bothers me. It's a fight for justice that continues. Now, do you remember this story of Kendrick Johnson? So he was the teenager that was found rolled up in that mat in the gym, and his organs were gone. Well, unfortunately, the second local investigation in 2013, death of him, the case has been closed with no charges filed, according to CNN. If you recall, the Georgia teenager was found dead in a rolled up gym mat. His unsolved case sparked outrage, and several petitions on change.org in the Kendrick's honor have been had to have the case reopened. They were created. Now, the Lowndes County Sheriff, Ashley Polk, reopened the case last year after not having access to the files pertaining to the case in 2019. Ultimately, the sheriff suspected no foul play. The Sheriff Polk called the teenager's death a weird accident and said there's nothing substantial to substantiate a homicide. Sheriff said nothing criminal happened, but Kendrick's family called him a liar and said this is part of a much bigger cover-up. His mother, Jacqueline Johnson, she told WSB TV she doesn't trust the local authorities and wants federal investigators to take another look into her son's death. Now, they have asked people to donate to a GoFundMe account they have so they can have their own private investigator. This is just, Lynia, your thoughts on this? I mean, your body rolled up in the mat, missing organs, but no foul play.
So I take out all my organs and then I go wrap myself up in a gym mat.
Right.
And one of my shoes is off, and I got one of my shoes on. One of my socks is hanging off. I ain't got no organ. Now, if I got no organ, how am I going to walk to the mat?
Right.
Correct myself up in the mat and just wait.
Yeah.
Now, gym mats, we've all been on gym mats before. Gym mats, they heavy. How you roll?
They are
more
heavy.
than once. It was like a Swiss roll.
Yeah.
It was like a Swiss roll more than once. Yep. Roll. Like, whoa. And you mean to tell me no outside forces stepped in to take this from local authorities to investigate? Because local authorities ain't doing their job.
Right.
And I hope that they continue to fight and push. And I think that there are a lot of people kind of like, I think Jennifer Williams is doing something.
I saw her talk about it on there. Yeah.
About like I think she's attached to a guy that I worked on another project with. Who they were doing some kind of documentary about this young guy's case and trying to bring some more attention to it because this is ridiculous.
It is.
It's ridiculous. But if it was someone else, oh, this would be national news. It would bring in the DOJ, bring in bring in white Jesus, do all of that.
Yeah, you're right. Chike, what are your thoughts on all this?
So I'm going somewhere else with this. I think due to the laws of the universe, it's going to take some time, but this will be solved. And the reason that it's going to be solved is because that young man's spirit is going to haunt everybody that's involved with the cover up of his death. This was heinous and it was evil, and it's continuing to be evil by everybody that ignores it and doesn't do the right thing to bring justice to his murder. And I'm going to say murder because of the circumstances.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I hope that you're absolutely right and that justice is served, because I remember when I first heard about this case a long time ago, I was like, what? We can come back, more hot topics. Talk about Chris Brown's hit with a $20 million lawsuit, and Nick Cannon has baby number 8 on the way. Right back after this.
He's not the only one.